Devin Haney versus Vasiliy Lomachenko. This is going to be a great fight, and these are the fights that we want to see as supporters of the sport of boxing. The best fighting the best. And I rate both of these men for making this fight happen. Loma wants another opportunity at the belt. He's getting older. He's not going to have much more opportunities. The time is now for Vasiliy Lomachenko. But Devin the Dream Haney had to go down to someone else's country and take the belt. So he isn't going to just let it go easily. Let's get into it. Let's start with Devin Haney. 29 wins, 0 losses, 15 wins by way of knockout. Haney is 24 years old now, and he's been pro since he was, 17 years old? So he's been fighting grown men since he was 17 years old, right? He's been slowly getting better and improving each year since the time he came in as a professional, developing his skills, sharpening his craft, ironing out the small things and making sure his fundamentals are solid and sound. Fundamentally, there's not a long list of boxers who are as sharp as Devin Haney in the sport today. He has one of the best jabs in the sport. It's fast, it's accurate, and very piston-like. And it has some force with it too. He sets up everything behind that jab. And he keeps his opponents at range with that same jab. Haney is a very calculated guy. He's sharp, he's accurate, strategic, and intentional with each move, every feint, every pivot. He's a good defensive fighter as well, not to the level of a Shakur Stevenson type of defensive eliteness, but he holds his own. He's a very good defensive fighter. He may not have that knockout power like a Gervonta Davis, but man, he does a lot of great things and has a lot of great things in his tool set that has made him great. He's got 15 wins by knockouts, so you have to have some power to get any type of knockout. Haney's coming off a year where he beat George Kambosos Jr. twice to win the title the first time, and if we can be honest, even though Kambosos had the title, many of us didn't really expect him to beat Devin Haney. Haney was just better both times. Maybe it would have been different a third time, but both times Haney was better, and the third time the outcome probably would have been the same if it was a third fight, man. He kept Kambosos at range, jabbed him, countered him, and just put on a great display of technical boxing. Clinically, he treated Kambosos like just another patient in the ring. You see that pun in there? That was intended. We're used to seeing Kambosos throw combinations, but he was throwing one shot at a time, and that's not going to do much to slow down Devin Haney. Kambosos was trying, but he couldn't find a way to close the gap. Haney was just a step ahead of him in every single category. If you let Devin Haney stay at range, man, it's over with. It's going to be a long night. His footwork is very good, and he's going to make sure that he keeps you where he wants you to be. The second fight that he fought Kambosos fought a better fight, but it was very similar to the first one. He showed better effort, but the results was the same. Now, Loma is the smaller man in the fight, but Loma and Haney have similarities in their style and the way that they think. Haney doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes either. In every 12-round fight, right, there are probably 10 of those 12 are great rounds, but there's typically 1 or 2 rounds where it's like his focus slips a little bit and he gets caught with the shot and he has a moment of lapse. Prime example, when he fought Linares, he was piecing up Linares good, man, controlling the fight, making sure Linares couldn't get the shots that he wanted, right? But Haney took a lot more risk in that fight than he usually did. Probably felt like he wanted to make a statement. I remember leading up to that fight, everybody was talking about, man, Devin Haney's got pillow fists, he's a boring fighter and all of that stuff. And no matter what you hear, that stuff really does creep into you. Even if you are a mentally strong person, you still hear it. And I felt like that was a fight where Devin Haney was trying to prove his toughness. And he stayed in the pocket a lot more than he usually does. And what he was doing at the beginning was working, right? But there was a round, I think it was the 9th or the 10th, where he got caught with the 4-piece combination before the bell rang, and you could physically see it, right? Haney, he was smiling, but he got the worst of it because he was wobbling back to his corner. And the next few rounds, you could kind of see some of that momentum shift, and Haney was getting caught with shots that Linares was missing earlier in the first half of the fight. Maybe if that would have happened earlier, maybe Linares would have been able to capitalize off that. But that was a fight where for about 9 rounds, Devin Haney was dominating that fight. But again, he was a little overconfident in that fight and took a lot more risk, especially inside the pocket. And for a split second, it almost changed the whole momentum of the fight. When he fought Jojo Diaz, it wasn't hard to see who was the more skilled fighter, right? You could see who was taking control of the fight, which was Haney. He used the reach advantage, even his footwork, from the subtle movements, keeping that left foot around Jojo Diaz. Southpaws are tough to face, and I don't think Haney fought too many southpaws in his career so far. So southpaws are a little bit tricky, but he fought very well. A fight he was in control of, but again, a few rounds where he had a lapse against Diaz, and Diaz caught him flush with some shots that backed Haney up and slipped through his guard. As sharp as Haney is, there are moments that his opponent can change the momentum if they can capitalize on it. But Devin Haney usually does a good job of recovering and making the adjustments, and usually doesn't find himself in that position again. Against Lomachenko, he's going to have to be careful not to let Loma get comfortable and start to get going. Loma wants to get on the inside. Can Haney prevent him from doing that for 12 rounds? Let's talk about his opponent, Vasiliy Lomachenko. 17 wins, 2 losses, 11 wins by way of knockout. If Loma is going to get the title back, as I said at the beginning, it's now, or it's probably not going to happen. If he loses, he won't get a 3rd title shot. His clock is now. He's 35 years old, and we know Father Time doesn't really care. Father Time is going to come and hit you. It might hit you a little bit later. It might hit you a little bit sooner, but sometime that age is going to catch up to you, and your body is not going to function as sharply as it has in the past. We've all been watching Lomachenko for years now, so we know the caliber of fighter that he is. We know he's got great feet, great movement, and once he breaks the distance on his opponents and gets on the inside, it's a long night for them, man. They call him the Matrix for a reason, because of how and where he's punching and how many punches he's throwing out of where he's coming from. He can slip and move, and it's so fluid and so smooth that it seems like, as his nickname says, that you're moving in the Matrix. The thing with Lomachenko, man, is he definitely tries to break you down mentally. If you can be broken down mentally, then your physical body is going to follow as well too. So his thing, he's going to try to frustrate you and make you tap out mentally. Remember when he fought Nicholas Walters and made him not even continue the fight? Walters at the time was coming off a win against Benito Donaire and against Miguel Mariaga, a guy who won 21 of his fights by way of knockout, and Loma had him confused, and Walters did not know what to do. That's the type of psychological things that Loma can do by what he's doing physically. And I got to be honest, man, for what Loma is able to do at 135 pounds, considering to me he's a natural featherweight, but the amount of success that he's been able to have in the bigger division speaks a lot about his skill set and his ability. What's going to be most interesting to me is, what is Loma going to look like at the beginning, at the start? What is he going to look like? I think I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 fights where Loma didn't start out slow. He's typically a slow starter, and he takes his time downloading information, as they like to say, right? And if that's the case, man, Haney is going to steal those early rounds easily, and that's what I'm expecting. But will that be the best strategy against a guy with the caliber like a Devin Haney? I don't know. We'll see. I don't personally think so, but I'm not Lomachenko's trainer. But to me, from the outside looking in, man, I don't know if that's the best one. When Loma fought Teofimo Lopez, it didn't work. Teofimo, who's talented, naturally athletic, sharp, he's got good power and smart in the ring. Teofimo was able to hold off Loma's late charge. While Haney doesn't have the type of power like Teofimo does, everything else, he might be on par, if not a little better in some areas. The slow start didn't work then. So I'm hoping Loma doesn't take too long to find his groove. He'll have to find a way to frustrate Haney. Haney is very focused, very sharp, always locked in. He's got a great team around him, but he'll have to find a way to frustrate Haney and try and close the gap early. Work the inside. He's going to need to use his feet and his experience to help him find and get into those positions. If he can't get on the inside, man, it's going to be a long night. He's going to get outboxed by Devin Haney. Both men are playing high-level chess. He's always in great shape. Loma's always in great shape. He's always in great condition, and that's one of his strengths. In Loma's last fight where he fought Jermaine Ortiz, Ortiz made Loma work to win that fight. Ortiz wasn't intimidated by Loma. He wasn't scared of Loma. He knew who Loma was. This was a great opportunity for Jermaine Ortiz, just as it was for Lomachenko, because this was an opportunity for Lomachenko to test his skills and his speed against one of the top prospects coming up. Jermaine Ortiz had a lot of momentum and good things going from him. Both men needed each other. Both men needed each other to see what was going to happen next. Ortiz took the fight to Loma. He used his youth, he used his size, but he just lacked the experience to make up those adjustments needed. He punched up Loma pretty good, and Loma punched him up pretty good, but once Loma found his groove and found his way in, man, he made it count. Loma is too accurate, too sharp from in close. The footwork is so fluid that he can close the gap effortlessly, but it was a tough fought win for him. I also think Ortiz is a tougher night for most people than people think, man. So this matchup is going to be like chess, not checkers. And I like checkers, right? Because it's fast paced and it's pretty straightforward, but chess requires more thinking power, more strategy, and a slower pace. And you have to anticipate what your opponent is going to do and try and make the best move before they do it so you can stay one step ahead. This fight, in my opinion, is going to be similar to like the game of chess. So who wins? It's a 50-50 fight. I'm expecting to see the best out of both men. I know a lot of people are talking about the size and that Haney is bigger and he'll win because he's just bigger. Look, Loma has fought bigger fighters before. He knows how to handle it. He's had success against fighting bigger fighters. It comes down to the distance for me and how will it be broken or how will it be kept. Loma can frustrate Haney during the fight, especially if he gets on the inside. The angles that Loma takes and the accuracy in his shots and the consistency when he's in there. But at the same time, man, Haney is sharp, quick on his feet, and he's fighting with a level of confidence, and youth is on his side. And he's sharper than he has ever been before. So if we're going off who looks better in the most recent fights, which we have to take into play, Haney looked better in his fight than Loma looked in his last fight. But Loma, after all he went through with this country coming back, maybe that was a part of it as well, too. I think that was a fight that Lomachenko needed because he was fighting the younger man who was more energetic and just that youthfulness and that hunger. And he needed that fight to see if he could keep up with the younger crop of fighters that are coming up. I'm expecting Haney to win the early rounds and Loma to come on in the second half of the fight. It makes for an interesting finish. But I'm taking Devin the Dream Haney to win this one by decision. I just think Haney right now is sharper. He's been more active and he'll start better. He's going to play it safe. He's going to use his reach advantage. And I think his timing and quickness are going to make it tough for Loma. I'm 60-40 Haney, but I got Devin Haney winning this one by decision. This is going to show a lot about Devin Haney. And it's going to say a lot about Lomachenko and where he is at as well, too. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. Recently just started membership on the channel. I don't always get to do all of the suggested videos you guys suggest in the comment section below, but if you become a member, those suggested videos rise to the top and I will do my best to get those done for you. Or if you would just like to become a member just to support the channel, man, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Shout out to all the members holding down the membership section already. I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody that continues to like, comment, share, subscribe, and watch the channel. I don't take you all for granted. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.